So I'm stonk light right now, stonk light, cash heavy, but trading the perps. I'm long some perps at the moment, mostly long Bitcoin. Had some nice TPs last week. Basically been long. We've been long Bitcoin and Fartcoin in the Discord. I think we
Yeah,
talked about that last week.
the
Just
Lord's barbell.
yeah, just getting getting both ends of the barbell there. Bitcoin's been maybe the strongest asset other than gold. It's kind of hard to beat gold strength. Unfortunately, I don't own any of the boomer rock. But it's been relatively strong on a relative basis,
Yeah.
And I think price action last week was like fairly constructive, and I think we're pretty well positioned going into the FOMC tomorrow. We had a interesting little Bitcoin close last week. You can see we basically swept this is the February low here, February low at like 78K. And we also swept the low of this super nasty expansion candle that we had. And then we closed the week bullish. So I'm bullishly biased going into the rest of this week, going into next week after or so. Obviously, Trump could do or say anything. We got to caveat everything we say with Orange Man could do something. Orange Man could do a thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks.
But I think the setup's good. I was telling the Discord yesterday that I wanted to buy some blood heading into FOMC. And so I actually just bid a little bit here at 81K. Think we could definitely get 80.7. I got some bids in. And even this low here around 78.8, I think are interesting spots because I'm just biased towards higher. I don't know how high we actually go, but like
would this be for a shorter term trade, or is this like filling long term bags?
No, this is just shorter term stuff, because I'm sort of trying to play a balance. We've got the CME gap here around 87K that I think we could bounce to. But I'm also open to the idea still that we come back to the mid range of this last kind of zone of supply here. Maybe even take out these highs around 100K. Like, so it's still a scenario I have in my mind, and I think it's on the table depending on how tomorrow goes. We also had a meeting with Trump and Putin today, and
how did that go?
I've heard people say constructive things about the meeting. The NASDAQ is not reacting constructively at the moment. It's down nearly 1% on the day, and it's down more than it was a couple hours ago. So things seem to be trending in the wrong direction on that. But I always think that's sort of more of a looming bullish catalyst than it is bearish catalyst at this point. I think a lot of the catalysts are now positioned in the opposite direction because the market has sort of like absorbed so much fear, done so much selling, done so much hedging already. Not that I think that this is over. I do think that we ultimately, see lower, sometime this summer probably, and hoping that that's a brief dip, but still kind of on board this Besant wants to force QE thesis. And as long as that's the case, it's like hard to feel good, holding any of these mega risky assets for more than a trade. And I think you probably are still of the same mindset.
Yeah, mostly cash, mostly just being defensive, trying to protect and preserve wealth, not really trying to grow it so much.
I like it. If I zoom way out on Bitcoin, I can do a little bit of candle science here too. The most notable thing we had happen this year was we swept the high of the January 24 yearly candle. And, these yearly candles they're a big deal. You sometimes get significant reactions off of them. And although we've had a, pretty, I don't even want to say it's a nasty sell-off in Bitcoin terms and in TradFi terms, it certainly was nasty. We went down about 30% or so from high to low. But in the context of this candle, not like a huge pullback, I think it's highly, 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 highly unlikely that we take the high of this candle and then take the low of this candle this year. So if you want to put it like a mental floor at 38.5, it's probably a safe thing to do. You don't usually see price taking both ends of a candle like this. I don't think Bitcoin's ever done that on a yearly candle, right? So an interesting thing I'm sort of framing myself to at this point is just the mid range,
Mr. Mid-range,
just the mid range of the last candle, right? And that mid range to me is interesting because we've got the prior all time high here, and if we zoom in a little bit, see what that looks like structurally. We've got the high of this range here. We've got a little demandy demand over here. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic that maybe we can find a bottom around this sort of 70 to 73K region. And I love Bitcoin in the long term still. So that's still my mental model over the next few months.
Fill the long term bags there in the low 70s.
Fill bags there. I think got to be prepared for the idea that this could go lower, right? Because I think if it doesn't find support there, then I think we're going into the 50s, the mid low 50s probably. Just hard to predict all this stuff so far in advance with all the differing crazy shit that could happen in the world. Strong plans loosely held. I don't know.
I like it. I mean, I would definitely feel comfortable buying Bitcoin in the low 70s and just like holding that for the rest of my life. Maybe like I'd feel fine.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because now I'm thinking of cap gains. I'm thinking years out at this point. I'm thinking of the setup in all the world governments, all the incentives for the politicians. It's all aligned very well for Bitcoin right now. So looking forward to loading the bags.